Hello and welcome to Unprofessional Engineering. My name is James.
And you got Luke.
Luke, today we are kicking off a brilliant new series
Woo!
Wow, you were excited.
So I am.
Let's try this again. A brilliant new series that you came up with.
I did. I feel like I get all the credit for this.
Okay, good. And this is Inventors We Love. That's what I decided to call it.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay. Can we do inventor / engineering type people, or doesn't that roll off the tongue?
Well, so they're not all technically engineers, and I don't want all of our millions of fans to call us out on that. So
yeah, because I don't even know if our boy today we're talking about is tech.
Well, I don't know. Something I saw said /engineer.
Oh.
But he is a /physicist, and I feel like that captures everything.
It does. It
okay. Today we were talking about, of course, my
number one sponsor,
my boy Elon Musk.
Elon. I thought it was Elong.
It should be Elon.
His name.
Let's have you call him that the whole episode and have him write in.
Elon. I
Elon.
got it. Elon.
His history, his companies, where did he come from? How did he get so rich? How's he so smart? All these things and more could be answered today.
Yeah.
They might not be.
Probably not.
No. All right. So anyways, let's get started.
Yeah. So I want to start with, first of all, how old this guy is. And it makes me feel bad.
So when I was looking at this, he was born in 71?
1971.
That gives me a few more years to become accomplished. You're pretty much shot.
Yeah.
You are terrible compared to this guy.
It's very disheartening when you think about the level of accomplishment someone he's accomplished enough for multiple people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Multiple people.
Yeah.
And then there's me. I mean, I feel like this unprofessional engineering thing is pretty sweet.
We probably have a way better podcast than he has.
I'm sure we do.
But if he made a podcast with one episode, it would have way more listens than we do total.
Okay, so this cat, he's 46.
46 years old.
46 years old. He was born in June 71, and he's from South Africa.
I did not realize that.
I always just assumed he was Canadian all the time.
I always just assumed he was American.
No, so he's originally South African. And then he moved to Canada at some point, so he has Canadian citizenship.
He moved to Canada to get out of his obligatory military duty in South Africa.
They're like the Israeli army. At age 18 or 20 or whatever it is, you have to do military service.
Time, right?
And then he actually has American citizenship too, which I didn't know he had.
In 200002, I think, something like that. Not that it really matters.
I did not know that.
Did you see that at 12 years old, he created a video game?
Yeah, but
what a jerk.
Bladders or
Blastar.
Blastar, and he sold it for 500 bones to, was it Atari?
I didn't see who he sold it to, but that's pretty sweet.
I know he sold it.
Yeah.
And he made some money doing it. So what this guy did at 12 was
still more than we've done in our lives.
Makes me feel bad as my 42-year-old self. So he went to Stanford, but didn't stay too long. He was in Stanford for the story is he was there for 2 days.
Come on now. So he went to Queen's University in Canada.
Yeah, but how hard could it be to get in there?
That's true. Then he left, but he left to go to Penn, where he dual majored in business and physics.
I'm trying to point out his negatives at this point to make myself feel better, James.
Oh, okay. So he went to an Ivy League school. So he got 2 bachelors. Then he went to Stanford. You're right.
Then he went to Stanford and only stayed 2 days because
a loser.
Yeah. He decided to pursue,
very successful businesses.
Very successful businesses. So the other thing too that's interesting about this guy is I feel like lucky in love, you're not lucky in business. Because this guy has 6 kids.
I thought he had 5. Is
no,
he up to 6?
He's up to 6. He's currently divorced. Most of them are through in vitro. So he has a couple sets of twins that happen through in vitro. But he has 6 kids, 3 ex-wives. Can you imagine?
I only saw 2.
The amount of money that he is spending.
He had prenups. He's smart enough to do that.
I'm sure he had those, but he still took care of them. I'm sure because he has children with these women.
Well, sure.
So I feel like he's one of those guys that's super lucky in business, And maybe luck is the right word.
He doesn't have time for all of this
but
love.
He is
he
not
has
lucky
companies
in love.
to be running, man.
Well, yeah, but...
Yeah, I did see that. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I feel like you're really bringing him down.
No,
like,
I'm not.
I have him up here. You're trying to bring him back down to normal humanity.
I'm trying to humanize him a little bit, make him a little more kind of like your average guy. We all make mistakes and have different things. He hasn't made too many business mistakes or missteps, but in love, he's probably, made a couple missteps.
Okay.
Still love him, though.
I still love him as well. Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting.
That's about all I got for his background.
One thing I wanted to complain about is this is yet another story of, look at this guy who dropped out of college and now he made all this money.
So mad.
Bill Gates and all the, I just saw the whole list of them when I was looking into this, and it just makes me sick.
Makes me wish I would have dropped out of school.
See, I feel like that's misleading because neither of us are nearly intelligent enough to do anything good like this. So, yeah, especially you.
Okay,
I have a small chance. You have no chance.
For our listeners, I was making a very odd face.
Oh, there we go.
You were saying I didn't have that capability.
You mean our giant subscribership of 15 on YouTube?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Anyways, let's get into some of his businesses. What do you think?
He had some businesses. Before you do that, do you know his net worth as of 2017?
No.
20.5 billion.
No.
B with a billion.
Wow.
Net worth. He is number 12. So
Is he really?
So not millionaire wise or billionaire wise, but they rate like tech people versus
gotcha.
So in tech, he's number 12.
Wow.
So he's still not the highest, which I thought he would have been, but $20.5 billion.
Elon, you got to get in gear.
Yeah.
Get on top of that list.
You got to sponsor some unprofessional engineering with some of that cabbage.
That's really where you would make your big bucks.
I'm sure.
So there's that.
Alrighty, let's move on.
All right. Starting with Zip 2. Is that where you want to start at?
Yeah, I think that's kind of chronologically, right?
Right. So for those of you who are like me and have no idea what this cat does, as Luke would say, Zip 2 is where it all started.
It is. That's why he dropped out of Stanford.
Yeah, it is why he dropped out of Stanford. Originally called Global Link Information Network. It provided and licensed online city guide software to newspapers. So that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting is this was, back in 95.
Yeah, this was
And he
way
started
back.
this with his brother and another dude with just $34,000. But the technology that they're doing, which is basically a goal of creating an online Yellow Pages kind of, is just commonplace now. And a lot of what they did was mapping people to businesses. So you would look up a business and get mapped to it. Like, that's commonplace.
Here's an interesting fact about this one. So Compaq company doesn't even exist anymore.
I know. Great investment.
What did you say it was? 34 grand that they
yeah,
started
they started with 34
and
grand.
Compaq bottom for
307 million.
What?
Yeah, and Elon scored 22 of that million.
That is crazy bananas.
And considering none of that money was his, it was his dad's and his brother's money, he really made out pretty well.
So
also, his brother must be a pretty smart guy.
I'm sure he
Kimball.
is.
Kimball, that's a sweet name.
Yeah, they got some pretty cool names in this family, I noticed.
But anyways, in 96, they got a $3 million investment and changed their name to Zip2. So
interesting.
It changed. And by the time they were really rolling, they had 160 newspapers using their software, including the New York Times and the Chicago Tribune.
Interesting.
We can't even get published in one of those.
Hey, I want to do interesting facts in between his companies.
Wow.
I forgot I had a whole list of interesting facts.
I didn't know you ever had anything interesting.
So, first of all, he was bullied like all get out. Bullied as a child. So he was bullied a ton.
Like they took his lunch money.
Yeah, it was beat up. Supposedly there was a story where he was like pushed down the steps and was knocked unconscious. I don't know if any of this stuff is true, but and hold on, another one. And the video game. He sold it for $500. It was called Ballster, and he was 12. And you can actually play it if you Google it. It's actually available
I thought about
online.
Googling it, but never got around to it.
Yeah, you
interesting.
Can play
it. That's great.
Next company.
Do you think he gets cyberbullied now?
No, I think anybody probably that does what they do, my guess is their Twitter feed is just filled with nastiness.
I've seen where people have tweeted stuff like about Teslas or something, and he'll respond like, "That's great feedback. We'll get that added into the next release," or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really cool. He's very active on Twitter, though.
Yeah.
Much like Unprofessional Engineering.
Yes, very.
Maybe I'll follow him after this. So next, should we take a break?
We're probably good. We can probably do another one.
All right.
We got about another 3-4 minutes before we get to the midway point.
I'll just assume that means you didn't come up with a terrible invention this week.
Oh, no, I did.
Oh, you did? Wow. All right. So let's move on
I'm going to think about it right now as you do the next one.
Yeah, I figured. X.com was his next successful business.
Very successful.
I noticed they didn't mention any failures. Do you think every business he had was successful?
No, I imagine for every good one. My guess is he probably had ideas that just didn't come to fruition.
So we're very similar in that way, because
Yes.
I just told you all these great ideas I have.
Wonderful
that
ideas.
Still haven't happened. So it was one of the world's first online banks, and its deposits were insured by FDIC. So that's pretty cool. So online banking, he pretty much came up with, is what I'm understanding, right? So in 2000, they merged with Confinity. I don't know what a Confinity is, but they had this fancy product called PayPal.
Ooh,
and I do happen to know what that
I
is.
think I've heard of that.
And so this is really funny. PayPal enabled people with Palm Pilots to send money to each other. Do you remember Palm Pilots?
I had a Palm Pilot, I think.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's like...
Shut up.
It's basically like if you took a phone and a Palm Pilot, you get the iPhone. Is that about right?
Kinda.
Except way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this later, of course, allowed users to send money using emails and the web. And long story short, I thought this was kind of a failure. He was named CEO, but was replaced in 2001 by the co-founder of Confinity, Peter Thiel? Thiel?
Teal?
Thiel? Let's go
Thiel.
Thiel.
Teal, like the college, right?
Sure. His net worth is only like 2.7 billion. So he's one of the members of the billionaires club.
Yeah.
So another rich dude. But in 2002, PayPal was acquired by eBay for $1.5 billion.
With a B. That is crazy.
And our boy owned 11% of the stock at that time still.
That's crazy.
And I did just see in the news, he bought back the domain x.com from PayPal. He didn't buy anything into the company, nothing. He just bought that domain back. It's very sentimental to him.
He went on to GoDaddy.
Yeah, he went on to GoDaddy. They forgot to renew, and he scooped it up.
I love it. I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll do a break. Can I do another interesting fact, and we'll do a break?
Sure.
So he owns his own James Bond car. So he bought the Lotus Esprit submarine car from the 007, The Spy Who Loved Me movie from the 1977 movie. He spent $866,000 on it.
Seems like a good investment.
Seems like it, right?
Do you like James Bond movies?
I like the old ones,
Okay.
the very old ones, before Pierce Brosnan was in. So
I don't really
like the
like any
Sean
of them.
Connery and
My mom likes those ones.
Yeah,
You guys are about the same
the
age.
Sean. Hate you sometimes.
Yeah. All right, so break for our sponsors.
Break for our sponsors.
This week, we had a tough time with sponsors because SpaceX and Tesla were both fighting over us. Vying for our attention.
Vying is the word.
For a spot, and so we just turned them both down.
Yep.
Is how I remember this going. And we're here where we are now. I actually had a conversation with one of my friends. He wants to sponsor us for one episode.
Okay.
Just to make, as part of the deal, he wants us to do as many. And if you listen to this, remember to listen to this episode, because he listened to the last one and was just like, you did so many. I want to see if you can like hit every episode in one.
I'm sure we could.
So notice I haven't done any this time, just to give our listeners a break.
I like that.
So anyways, we still have our sticker promotion going on. If you subscribe to Unprofessional Engineering, email us at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com, and you could get some great stickers. Elon, that goes for you as well. Feel free to email me. I will hook you up with maybe 3 stickers just because, you know, you're special.
You know what'd be sweet? The next time one of those SpaceX shuttles take off,
We slap a sticker.
we slap an Unprofessional Engineering sticker on that bad boy.
Oh, that'd probably throw it off.
I can't imagine. They've crashed a lot, so wow. Maybe it might help. I don't know.
Wow. All right.
I feel
You
like
really
I'm
are
dogging
hating.
a lot.
You
I'm
are.
sorry. I'm a little salty.
So with that, let's move on.
Let's jump back in.
All right, SpaceX. That's the next one.
Was SpaceX before Tesla?
Yes.
I
SpaceX
feel like
was
SpaceX
before.
was newer, but I guess
feel like
had
it
my
was
dates
in the
off.
news less. How about that?
Okay.
It was in the news less. SpaceX, lesser known as Space Exploration Technologies Corporation. That's kind of neat, right?
Interesting.
No? Is it? I'm not really sure.
Well,
So I thought this was cool. This is my favorite part about all of it. It came from an idea that Elon had called Mars Oasis. And it was a project to land miniature greenhouses and grow plants on Mars. And so he tried to come by some cheap rocket ships
Okay.
to do this with, to start with. And so he went to Russia and couldn't come up with any. Like, he couldn't find them on the cheap, like the Russian black market.
Russian black market looking
So
for rockets.
he's flying back home, and as he's flying back home, he's like, I can probably just build them cheaper anyways.
Yeah,
And this is pretty much how SpaceX started.
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I thought so. Do you have any information on this that you want to share? Because I feel like I'm just a wealth of knowledge, and I'm coming off a little fanboyish.
No. I'm totally okay with you being a fanboy. The interesting thing too, that where was it? What was it? The raw materials.
Oh yeah, the raw materials.
Yeah. So Musk calculated that the raw materials for building a rocket actually only 3% of the sale price of a rocket at the time.
Yeah.
So literally all the material you need to build a rocket is only 3% of the cost. That means everything else is the fabrication, the engineering, the design,
The manufacturing is a pretty intense process. Let's be
think?
fair. Yeah, I think you have to you have to make everything perfect. Think of the factors of safety that they design under. They're like nil.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are exact. But you're right. Between the raw materials and then producing 85% of the hardware in-house, he figured that he could drop the price of these things by a factor of 10 and still have a 70% gross margin. That's a lot of money.
That's crazy.
That's how you make the top list for tech money people. So maybe we need to get into the space game.
Yeah, I think so. The other you mentioned Mars. Did you happen to watch that Colbert episode where Elon was on the Stephen Colbert show?
No, see, my research was actually reading about these. Yours was watching Colbert. So go ahead.
No, it was.
Tell me about
I was
it.
researching, and a YouTube video came out, and he suggested to nuclear bomb or blow
I've
up
seen that.
Mars.
The poles.
And what it was, I guess whenever you blow it up, something happens that creates these dust clouds, and like atmosphere starts to get built,
Form,
and it could actually start to form some type of atmosphere on Mars. So
I feel like that's a big gamble.
I feel like that's like, what was that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Total Recall?
No, is that Total Recall where they
don't
were
know.
on Mars? I think
so.
that's Total. I think that was the idea.
I was probably 2 when that came out.
Oh my goodness.
Just so you know. I don't know when it came out.
I
Feel
hate-
free to write in
I
and
hate
let
that
us
you
know.
bring this up all the time.
I don't mean to. It's just like, you're like, don't you remember that? And I'm like, no. I
I wasn't born.
Right. I was not
I was
alive
still
then.
wetting my pants.
I mean, up until like
last
last year,
week.
right? Anyways, let's get into some more SpaceX. How about that?
Yes.
Back in the day, in about 2002, it was goal to reduce space transportation cost and enable colonization of Mars. It's already successfully reduced cost for space travel, but it has not colonized Mars yet, so I'm pretty disappointed about that.
Yeah, I am too.
Could work a little faster. Other major goals, create a rapidly usable launch system, which they've done for low altitude, and high altitude ones for high speed, the Falcon 9. When it started out in 2002, 160 employees. Nowadays, about 6,000. Pretty good growth, right?
Yeah, I'd say.
In 2012, it had 40 launches on its manifest already. $4 billion in contract revenue from NASA and the government.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and by the end of 13, 50 future launches were slated. As we know, they're already sending stuff off into space. And they're currently working on big projects, the Falcon Heavy and the Dragon capsules, which are key for travel to Mars. So, I mean, this isn't just maybe we'll travel to Mars, like, wouldn't it be cool if we got there? They're all out planning and designing to get people to Mars and make it happen. Like,
And
like in my lifetime, maybe
and-
not yours.
And from what I understand, he's going to keep this reasonably priced. Like, well, I mean,
Like,
I don't know what reasonable means to someone like Elon.
like maybe he can afford to go do it.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's also interesting that it's a private company. So we don't actually know if it's profitable.
Yeah.
I figure by now, with all this money that they're getting,
you can never tell.
They're profitable, but who knows? What else do you have to say about SpaceX? Anything?
No. I know that there was a thing with SpaceX. I'm not sure if it actually happened with one of his SpaceX rockets, but he wanted to do a space-based internet. So basically, you would provide internet for the entire globe based off of satellite-based internet connections. So sometime back in 2016, SpaceX filed for permission from the FCC to launch 4,425 satellites that would basically provide internet coverage for the entire world.
Wow. That would be nice.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I wonder how much they would charge.
Yeah, but
give my Xfinity some challenge.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, I'm trying to use my phone and I can see the cell tower and I get no signal. What kind of phone do I have to have when this thing is up in space? Just saying.
The Zach Morris phone. Do you remember Zach Morris?
I do remember Zach Morris. I love Zach Morris.
Yeah, I love Zach Morris too. Okay. All right, moving on to Tesla.
Moving on to Tesla.
So before we really get into anything here, I want to throw out that yesterday the stock price was around $339 a share, and that he owned a measly 20.5% of the company, which is not insignificant.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Something else I thought was super awesome about this, because I did not know, is that he did not start Tesla. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning did in 2003. And our boy came in for leading the Series A financing at $7.5 million in 2004 when he became the chairman of the board.
Interesting.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. That I just assumed he started Tesla because he's been tied to it for as long as I can remember.
As long as I knew about it, right?
Yeah, longer. He raised another $13 million in 2005 and another $40 in 2007. And now I mean, I feel like they just burn through cash. Everything I've ever read is that it's like borderline not super successful, that they burn through money so fast. But I mean, that's kind of how companies run now. Like Uber and anything.
Yeah,
they just burn money and get market share. Amazon.
Yeah, I think you can do that with something that has the growth potential that something like electric cars has.
So you're telling me I have no growth potential? That's why I can't do that. It's a fair statement.
It's an accurate.
I stopped growing in about 7th grade.
It's an accurate statement. But
all right.
Yeah, I think you can do that with that type of market.
Okay.
Because there's literally nobody else. And he's doing this with other businesses too right now. I don't know if we're going to have any time to talk about Solar City, but he's doing that with Solar City too. They're just like burning through
Solar
cash.
City's now a subsidiary of Tesla, though, right?
Yeah.
They bought them out. Stock trade or something like that.
I don't know how all that
Again, another reason we don't
works.
have money. The whole stock market is a mystery to us.
But whenever you're that kind of only person in the market leading, you just run, I think as fast and as far forward as you can, and then you just wait for that money to fill in.
Yeah, I guess that's how
think.
it works. Okay. Do you have more information about Tesla? Because there's a lot of good stuff going on here.
So the interesting thing that I liked most about my Tesla research was, even though this cat is number 12, $20.5 billion.
Well, hold on. Are you bringing him down again?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's why I like him all of a sudden.
Okay.
So he basically said that this will be the price of the vehicle. So making these vehicles, $35,000 for the Model 3.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have very easily said, "Oh, the base price is going to be 50 or 60 or 70, and we're going to put and people would have still bought it anyways." But the idea that he's making a car that is roughly the same price as my truck if I got the base model of the car, and I could afford this vehicle and buy this vehicle and take all the advantages of electric cars and all that sort of stuff, and he said that was going to be the price. It wasn't going to be, we said it and then it'll be bigger later, and apparently they're delivering on it. So I like that he made a car for the people.
To be fair, the Model S starts at 50,000.
But that's the S.
But if you want it to go anywhere, it has to be more like 80,000. It doesn't have wheels on it at 50,000.
No, it has a battery, but it's like a D battery.
And the Roadster's like $1 million.
Yeah, but you know what? But the 3 is pretty sweet.
The 3 is sweet.
I considered it.
When I was in Aspen with Lawyer, we were at a Tesla store there. And she's like, why don't you get one? And it was the S that they had on display because it's beautiful and it's awesome and it's techie and geeky. And it was like 80,000. I'm like, well, that's why. And she's like, well, why? And I'm like, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah. Did you see in 2005 they made a deal with Lotus to manufacture all the complete cars except for the powertrain?
I did not see that.
That's pretty awesome. That Lotus is the one that was manufacturing the Roadsters.
I love Lotus.
That's really cool. And then on a rare good business move by Daimler, that was kind of mean. They acquired 10% of Tesla in 2009 for $50 million, which is now worth billions of dollars.
That's crazy.
So good job, you guys. That was something. And I guess everyone else knows Tesla, so I don't really want to spend any more time on it unless you have something cool.
No, I didn't have anything
because we have all
else.
the like side projects to talk about.
Yeah, and I feel like these are like quick, we only got a few
one hitters
minutes left here.
Yeah.
So Solar City. So this one I'm actually looking into, and I'm gonna do it. We did a podcast. I forget the episode, but it was about solar power.
We did.
I'm actually considering looking into solar because I found out that the roof of my house is facing the right direction.
That's good.
And I have no obstruction. And there's
Sweet.
actually like 3 other people in the general neighborhood that I see the Solar City box on the outside of their house where they do the collection. So I'm actually looking into Solar City as a way to replace my electric bill.
I think that's awesome, especially if you know you're going to be in that house for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm going to move here eventually, so I don't want to do something like that now, but I'd love to do that.
But yeah, so you talk about like a great marketing strategy.
Right.
Basically, it's basically free. The way I understand
all their cost, like all the upfront costs they handle for the most part.
And then they put this thing on the roof of your house. They power your house's electricity, and the way they make their money is the excess power that you would normally sell back to the electricity supplier, the way the old programs worked. They actually sell it back and make their money that way.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
So it's virtually no cost to you.
Right, they hope to be able to power your whole house as well as charge your Model 3.
Exactly.
So that'll be cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Of course, he also dabbles with the idea of the Hyperloop.
Yeah, I feel like this is more than a dabble. I feel like this thing is going to be pretty legit here in the next, I don't know, 10 years, 5 years.
So in January of this year,
it just happened.
They just had the first competition for this, and they had 3 teams that actually had the Hyperloop move, like their train move.
And these are like college teams mostly
Most of them,
competing, right?
well, of course, if you listen to our college episode, MIT knows everything, so they were one of them. So good for MIT. But it's right at the SpaceX facility that they have this Hyperloop testing area going on. But I love the amount of fighting that goes on. Like people just are completely against it or completely for it. It's very polarizing, we'll say, in the nerdy tech world.
Yeah.
If it's even possible, how successful it will be. And of course, his pricing structure is so different. It's like, he says it's going to be so cheap compared to what everyone else thinks it would be, or comparable, well, not really comparable, but alternate ways of traveling from city to city.
Well, if you think about it, if you're doing it fast enough and you can get the number of passengers and you can make multiple trips, you can charge. I mean, the reason why flights are so expensive is you can only fit so many people, and you can only fly so fast, and maintenance. But if you can do 5 times the number of trips in the same amount of time, I feel like that it could be pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I think so. And we have a whole episode on the Hyperloop, which is pretty cool. Just the details that go into it, like the number of people that can travel on it, how fast it's going, like 700 miles per hour or something ridiculous. Maybe it was kilometers. I don't know. Whatever unit of measure they use. Details. They have a few other things he dabbles in, like AI with OpenAI. He's a co-chair for, I think it's a nonprofit, so it's mission.
And we need him here, because I agree with him. We're going to have a whole nother episode at some point where we talk about AI and what's going to happen. You may have already done one too, I think, but we're going to do another one.
Okay.
But we need a guy like Elon at the front of this, because I totally think like of Terminator and like Bicentennial Man and something
you
in
want
between.
Terminators running around?
Well, like the
I do.
So like Terminator is the bad one. It's
that's true.
they're these horrible machines that became aware and want to destroy civilization. But then you got the exact opposite. I watched a couple clips, Robin Williams in Bicentennial Man.
It was a good one?
Where he was a good robot that kind of, he evolved into like a person and then like wanted to get married and wanted to be considered a person, and he was nice.
Everything Luke knows is from the movies. I like that.
It is.
So 2 more things I wanted to talk about. One, Neuralink, which is creating devices to implant into the human brain to make them interact with software more, which would be awesome, where you just like
this one.
upgrade me to be a little bit stronger or
You don't need
smarter.
that. Look at
No,
you.
I don't. I mean, I'm jacked. I'm svelte. And then the next one is the Boring Company, which I'm confident he was just tired of traffic going to the airport.
That's what he said. He said he was sitting in traffic and was like, he tweeted like, I'm going to dig a hole.
Yeah.
And
so he's making his own, or maybe made his own private tunnel from like
supposedly
his
it's working,
factory to
right?
the airport. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
But I just find it hard to believe. But supposedly this company's gold at like reducing traffic and boring tunnels and who knows what.
Interesting.
Which when you have that much money, I guess that's what you do.
I'm a little nervous about the Neuralink one too.
You are?
Yeah, because I feel like
bad?
I feel like that and AI and all that is a little. I feel, and again, maybe it's just movies, because again, I get all my information from movies. I feel like maybe that's something like anything in movies when someone's been like augmented with like equipment and machinery in their brain or their body. I think of Universal Soldier, Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude's the good guy. Dolph Lundgren's the bad guy.
Of course he is.
Yeah, it's just like I feel like that's gonna end bad. You're either gonna be like Jean-Claude, and you end up having to be frozen all the time because your body runs to, or you're gonna be Dolph Lundgren and be the bad guy.
I feel like you're more like Dolph.
Me?
Yeah. I get that a lot out of you.
Okay.
All right, so with that, I think we should probably call it a day.
I think we should.
A lot of information, and we're going to be following up with this throughout the weeks with other great inventor, engineer,
for sure,
scientist folks that we love.
And if you have any that you want us to pick on, so like, I'm Croatian. I love Nikola Tesla.
Oh,
Nikola Tesla is
He'll be another one for the list.
He's probably my favorite. He's done so many cool things. But I'm sure there's tons of ones that we don't know. So we obviously like Tesla, Edison, Einstein, those types of folks. But if there's an engineer or an inventor or some type of entrepreneur out there that's doing things kind of in the engineering-ish, making things, send us their name and we'll do some research and we'll do a little, podcast about them and find out as much information as we can.
Love it. All right. So until next week.
See ya.